G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another one of my EV Realist videos. In this series I seek to put a slightly saner view of the transition to EVs than the madness that's currently being spruiked by our governments. So if you like this kind of content, it would be great if you drop a like, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. So in this episode we're going to touch on something that we've spoken about many times before in these videos, and that is the issue of EV fires. So whilst the EV proponents always say that there are way fewer EV fires than internal combustion engine fires, and that may be true given the tiny number of EVs on our roads at the moment, when they do catch fire it's a much bigger deal because of the nature of the fire, its temperature, the batteries and everything else. And firefighters are now having to come up with whole new playbooks for how these fires should be dealt with. And today we're going to look at an article in the Wall Street Journal, which I'll link below, and I'll PDF it below because it's paywalled, which talks about this very complex and challenging subject. So the headline reads, "Best way to extinguish a flaming electric vehicle? Let it burn." Fire departments across America are wrestling with fires in EV cars that last longer and are harder to extinguish. This is very true. Firefighters called to extinguish an electric vehicle fire are discovering the surest approach is to stand back and watch it burn. Electric cars combust differently than their gas-powered counterparts. Firefighters and researchers said EV fires last longer, are harder to put out and have a tendency to reignite. First responders in Franklin, Tennessee faced their first burning EV in September, a Nissan Leaf that ignited while charging outside the car maker's North American headquarters. They spent hours pouring 45,000 gallons of water on the car, compared with the 500 to 1,000 gallons that fires involving gasoline-powered vehicles usually need, Fire Marshal Andy King said. "I think if we're faced with a similar scenario next time, we might need to let it burn," he said. Nissan said it's investigating the cause of the fire. It isn't clear how frequently EV fires take place, but as the cars become a larger part of the American fleet, some fire departments see them as a growing nuisance. Firefighters in Florida's North Collier Fire Control and Rescue District responded to 6 last year after a storm surge brought by Hurricane Ian caused salt water to get into EV battery compartments, which can cause short circuits. So just to explain a little bit here, salt water, as you probably know, has salt in it, which is sodium chloride, which is an ionic solid, which splits into 2 different ions, which then conduct electricity, so it's very conductive. Pure water is not very conductive, fresh water, but salt water absolutely is, and it gets into the batteries and it shorts the cells, and that causes them to go into thermal runaway, which is why a flood EV can catch fire, bizarrely. First responders are still trying to figure out how to deal with EV fires. When we look at how much money is going into battery plants, into the EV transition, there hasn't been that carve-out to prepare the fire service, said Michael O'Brien, Fire Chief of Michigan's Brighton Area Fire Authority and Chair of the International Association of Fire Chiefs Battery Committee. Electric vehicle fires usually start in the car's lithium-ion batteries, which can store a massive amount of energy. If a battery is poorly designed, or if it is damaged by shock or internal spikes of lithium that form over time, a process known as thermal runaway can begin, said Chief Scientist Robert Sloan of UL Solutions, which tests and certifies batteries. The batteries contain flammable chemicals and can release their own oxygen as they burn, allowing EV fires to reignite hours or even days after they appear to be quenched. They also emit toxic fumes that Tom Miller, who teaches for the West Virginia University Fire Service Extension and the National Volunteer Fire Council, said, make hydrogen cyanide look like Pez. Oh dear. And then we get the usual excuses. Genevieve Cullen, president of the Electric Drive Transportation Association Industry Group, said electric vehicle fires aren't more dangerous than those involving gas-powered vehicles, but do require their own tactics. That's just not true. That's absolutely not true. They are more dangerous because they can cause jets of flame to travel sideways. They have high pressure gas that can cause the cells to explode, and the temperature at which they burn is something like 2,500 degrees C, which is way more than the kind of 800 degrees C that a regular fire burns at. So way, way, way more dangerous. Motorists tempted to tackle an EV fire themselves should think twice, O'Brien said. A fire extinguisher would likely be incapable of tamping down the flames from a battery pack, he said, and the smoke is highly dangerous. I think this issue of EV fires is going to get more and more important as more and more people start charging their EVs either in their garage or in underground apartment blocks. They can be extremely difficult to put out, and they can spread very rapidly to either the cars nearby or other structures nearby. Far more difficult to put out than regular gasoline fires. So I think as the number of EVs on the road increases, this problem is only going to get worse. So that's just about it for this one. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you've got any tips, you can hit me up on Instagram or by email. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.